Shalom. Kal halal Yahweh, Bahashem Hamashach Yahawashai, Bahashem Rakakadash, I pray to the true God of Israel, Yahweh, and His only begotten Son, Hamashach Yahawashai, and His Holy Spirit, Rakakadash, I pray to the true God of Israel, Yahweh, and His only begotten Son, Hamashach Yahawashai, and His Holy Spirit, Rakakadash, I pray to the Lord of Israel, Amen. Why, when the so-called black people, the Negroes, the natives, the Mexicans, the Latinos, and good people in general, other than Israelites, other than Negroes, the natives, the Mexicans, the Latinos, good people in general, when they get outside of the prison, okay, when the so-called white man, who's the devil, put them in prison, and then as soon as they're out of the prison, the so-called white man, he keeps an eye on them after they get out of the prison, after their sentence gets done. It's very simple, because the so-called white man, he wants to, especially to the Negroes, natives, Mexicans, and Latinos, the reason why the so-called white man is keeping his eye on them is because the so-called white man wants these individuals to go back into prison for this all over again for the second, third, and fourth time. So the so-called white man is going to set those people up again. He's going to set them up so they will go to prison all over again for the second, third, and fourth time. Because the so-called white man, especially to the Negroes, natives, Mexicans, and Latinos, the so-called white man, he wants to imprison all of them, okay? And the white man, even if a Negro who has been in prison for like 15 years, after his sentence gets finished, the so-called white man will find a way to set the Negroes up and send them to prison all over again for the second time. He will send them to prison all over again for the second time. And he will do that for the third, fourth, and fifth time, two against the same people. Two against different people, yes, but even two against the same people who have been serving prison for like 15 years plus, he will find a way, the so-called white man will find a way to imprison those Israelites for all over again for the second, third, and fourth time, all over again, the same people. It's not like a different person. But even if it's a different person, that's still a big deal. So how much more if it's the same person, and this time he's going to be set up by the so-called white man to be sent to prison all over again for the second, third, and fourth time. So in other words, the so-called white man, he wants the Negroes, natives, Mexicans, the Latinos, who are the righteous, original, and foreigner, real Hebrews, Israelite, Jews, kings, and queens, to serve imprisonment for the rest of their lives. So 15 years gets finished, then he gets released. A month later, he's going back to prison all over again for the second time, because he had been set up by the so-called white man to go back to serve another 15, 20 years in the prison sentence, except this time is going to be longer, his prison sentence. So the so-called white man is a mother effer, and he's definitely, but when a white person go to prison after the victim has been fighting back and forth to get his right back, they will give him a 2-year sentence in a minimum security prison. Whether if a black person does that crime or someone else does that crime, they put him, especially if a Negro person does that crime, small crime, they will put him in a maximum security prison for 20, 30, 40 years. But the white person, the so-called white man, he will do horrible crimes, big crimes, and if he get caught, okay, and even if he get caught, the government will still protect him and defend him. And even if he get caught, the government are going to fight for their own people to get protected. And the victim parents or the victim friends, whatever, the victim sisters, brothers, they have to fight back and forth till death to get some justice from the government against the so-called white people. So what's going to happen? When some justice is going to be served, the white lawyers and white judges, they're going to be putting the other white people who are the criminals inside the prison for 2 years, 2 to 3 years, no more than 5 years, in a very minimum security prison. I'm telling you, bro. And these judges, the white judges, and even could be other types of judges, like other types of nationality, but they're all controlled by the so-called white man at the end of the day. But mainly the white judges, they're so merciless, and they're all psychopathic, covert narcissists. Okay, everybody believes them that they're the good guy, but really they're career criminals who are also judges. They're psychopathic, covert, narcissistic, high level of Satanists, career criminals who are also judges, and they are Edomites. So do not seek justice from the government against the so-called white man. Do not seek justice from the so-called white man against other so-called white people. No, but rather seek justice from Yahweh and His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, and His Holy Spirit, the Kakdash, against the criminals, especially the criminals who are the so-called white people. Okay? Because even if you truly accuse their people, they're going to make you look that you're the false accuser. So they're going to accuse you for you accusing them. So do not engage with them. Do not confront them. If somebody abuses you, whatever, just walk away. Don't defend yourself. Don't call the police, whatever. Nothing is going to happen. If something does happen, they're going to waste the hell out of your energy, time, effort, and money to gain some justice. And even when you gain some justice, you're not going to get justice by 100%. And when you're meant, and your soul will subconsciously think, oh, since I got justice, then what's the point of serving God? But no. Serve God and serve the Lord to bring you 200% justice. And when you leave it up to the Lord's hands, the Lord will punish them more than 100%. So if you call the so-called white man, call the white police to get justice, you will gain 20, 50, 75% justice. But if you leave it for the Lord, you will get 200% plus justice. But if you, let's say you gain justice from both the Lord and the government, well, the Lord is not going to, so let's say if the government give you justice by 25%, then the Lord will give you justice by 75%. Let's say if the government gives you justice by 75%, then you will gain justice by 25% from the Lord. So do not seek justice from Egypt. Woe to them who go to Egypt for help. Do not seek justice from the government against the criminals, but rather seek justice from Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashak, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Kankadash against the criminals. Shalom. Kal Halal Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashak, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rukakadash. I pray to the Lord of Israel, Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashak, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rukakadash. I pray to the true God of Israel. Shalom. Amen. Shalom.